Welcome to Crime and Wine. I'm Pamela Fagan Hutchins, your host, and this is the show where I talk with other crime fiction writers about the stories of thrills and suspense that will leave you mystified, sometimes horrified, and always wanting more. Please join me in welcoming today's special guest. Well, hello, everybody. It's Pamela. This is Crime and Wine, and I am so glad you're here. And I am going to apologize in advance because everybody knows that watches the show, my horrible, rotten, nearly 2-year-old perpetual puppy, Willie, has been running in and out of the room with a toy. And my husband is not here to buffer this for us. So you may get some dog today on the show. You're going to get something much, much better than dog, though. You're going to get an author that I'm really excited to introduce you to in a moment. Before I do that, I want to remind you that this is Pamela's very big year of books. Six books coming out this year. 4 have already come out. Skin and Bones, Patrick Flint, and the first 3 in the Detective Delaney Pace series, Her Silent Bones, Her Hidden Grave, and Her Last Cry. We are going to have one more Delaney Pace book in October, Her Forgotten Shadow. And we're going to have the sequel to Bighorn, Walker Prairie, in the Jen Harrington series that comes out in November. So that is something that I have to look forward to, and I hope you guys are enjoying reading them. So now I wanted to introduce you, though, to the person that is here today and makes this show, gives us the reason to have this show today. You guys join me in welcoming Cara Reinard to the show. Hi.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to meet you. Did I say your last name right? Reiner?
You did, yes. Good job.
Thank you. Well, and you're here because you have a new release with Bookouture. Now you're going to show us the cover. It's a gorgeous cover. The Wife at the Window. Woohoo!
Yes. Very excited about this release. Launch has been going very well.
I'm glad to hear it. I was out peeking at it and looking, and the rankings looked great. The reviews are wonderful, and people really seem to be loving it. For those in my audience that have not read you before or aren't yet aware of this book, can you tell us a little bit about The Wife at the Window?
Sure. The Wife in the Window is my newest psychological suspense novel. I really kind of specialize in domestic suspense, peeling back the layers of conflicts between husbands and wives, families. And in this particular book, it examines 2 women. So it's told from 2 points of view. The one is a woman who unfortunately lost her daughter during a middle of the night accident. She suffers from night terrors, and she's always had sleep disorders, and she can't remember quite what happened. But it kind of follows her after she's released from the hospital. She had been in the hospital a long time, about a year. And she goes back to kind of reclaim her old life, and her husband, they have an older child. And when she goes back to her husband, she sees that another woman has moved into her home and kind of taken her place.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
it's told from both women's point of view. And I think the interesting thing is you kind of understand both their points of view. One is this woman who, direly wants her old life back. And then the other one is a woman who's, taking care of this family, falling in love with this man. And so it kind of goes back and forth between those 2 women.
One of the things I noticed from the reviewers when I was out on Amazon is how much they loved the 2 points of view. So kudos to you for making them both authentic and getting people to buy into the story. I could totally relate to both, right? I mean, I could totally be like, give me my baby back. But also, I'm a stepmother. And as a stepmother, I get it that you fall in love with them too. So this is a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a character that's better than the other, right? The woman trying to get her family back is good-hearted, and the other one's a bit vindictive and very protective. So you do sort of root for the mom more, but you can see, I think, both points of view, which I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Charlene Capides, who said she read it in one day and absolutely loved it. That's hopping on
Great.
from Facebook. So
So that's like
now
the nicest compliment is when people say that.
could not put it down. And so for you, this this specialty that you have, or this special touch really that you have with domestic suspense, and like you said, the troubles between husband and wives. What got you interested in writing about that? Was it something you liked to read, or just something that was intriguing to you
It's
to write?
it's always been a genre of interest. I feel like Gone Girl was the first book that kind of set off this explosive genre. And as soon as I wrote that, I finished it and I sat down and I wrote my very first domestic suspense book. That
Oh,
was
that's
like back
cool.
in 2008, but that just really like triggered something in me to write a book kind of like that, but my with my own voice.
Yeah, yeah. That it definitely did, and it definitely set off the unreliable narrator for sure, didn't it? I mean, just choo, like you said, an
Right.
explosion of interest in that. Um, so you've also written in the past, at least, women's fiction too, correct?
My stuff sometimes will cross genre, women's
Cross
fiction.
genre.
Mhm.
Okay. And what do you have coming up next? Is there more in this storyline, or is there another thriller to look forward to?
So I signed a 3 book deal with Bookouture. So this is the first book, and then I have one coming out in November that I'm really excited about. It's also told from the point of view of 2 women, and it's set in a embryology clinic. And let's just
Ooh.
say, there's some samples that go awry and and some
Oh, no.
heavy
I
heavy
love that.
thriller components to that book.
And so with these 2 in particular, where do you get the ideas that kick off these super exciting, super suspenseful, super kinda twisty books?
Yeah. So for this one in particular, I actually have, some sleep issues myself. Nothing crazy, but I've always talked in my sleep. It's been more of a point of comedy for a lot of people, like my previous roommates, my husband. They will have to wake me up and tell me to be quiet. But, I do not remember any of it. And when I had my children when they were small babies, I was often afraid because my sleep was so messed up, right, with nursing
Right.
and everything, that I would think that I heard the monitor and I didn't, and that was a time of a lot of confusion for me. So
Yeah.
I just kind of thought to myself, well, man, if I don't remember what I'm doing at night, what if a crime was committed in that setting? Could you be held accountable, right? What
Right.
state would you be considered in? Mentally unstable if you can't remember. And this story just came out, kind of a mixture of my own sleep issues and my own fears when I had very small children, which now they're 13 and 11. So I'm far enough away from that stage, right, where I can actually write about it.
Right, you're not I don't know about you, but sometimes when I write, I'm like, "Am I writing this into existence?" Like, can't actually admit these things that plague me because they'll happen. Like, for a long time, I couldn't write pregnant teenagers because I had teenage daughters.
Yeah.
I was
But
like, "I can't do
right.
that to them. It's gonna happen."
But now
So,
it's safe, right?
yeah, yeah, so but, I can first of all, it makes a wonderful premise for a story. But secondly, my heart goes out to you because that had to be confusing and terrifying at times when you had the kids and they were so little, not being able to come quickly to a sense of this is what's happening right now, and et cetera. That had to be really scary.
Well, I would wake up and I'd be like, I heard the baby, and my husband's like, the baby didn't cry. There was like that nothing came across the monitor, and I'd be like, oh my gosh,
Like, is
So
he trying to trick me, or is it
yeah.
me?
Or did he just sleep through it like men
Yeah.
do? Because just the women wake up and they're the ones who usually take care of the baby in the middle of the night. Or so yeah. Happy to be long past that, but definitely took it a while before I could write the book. But that is definitely some of where that came from, that
Yeah.
premise.
I love that. And what about the embryology clinic? That one also is a really cool premise.
Yeah, so that I actually started that book 10 years ago. It started as a women's fiction book.
Uh-huh.
And so I rewrote it as a thriller and pitched it to Bookouture as part of this 3 book package. So it's gone through a lot of transitions, and I think my idea for it back then was doesn't matter who is actually the parent. That's not genetically, that doesn't matter. It's who parents the child. So that was like the overall arching theme I was trying to get across
Yeah.
way back when. Now it's taken on more of a thriller aspect. So it's just gone through a lot of transformation since the original, conception.
It matters a whole lot more in the thriller aspect.
Yeah, right.
But that's a cool that both of these, as women reading domestic suspense, these are themes that I think all of us can relate to. That desire to protect your child or to get your child back, and a desire to, well, in the embryology sense, it's kind of similar. What wine are you drinking? It's Crime and Wine. You came prepared for the theme.
I did, yeah. This is actually orange wine. I came back from France. I visited France about a month ago, and everybody was drinking it over there. I had never heard of orange wine,
I hadn't heard
and
of it either.
it was all the rage over there, and everybody was serving chilled orange wine. So it became this thing, and then we tried to find it when we came home, and as soon as we did, we bought a whole bunch and kind of like turned our friends onto it. So yeah,
Is it
give
like
it a try.
a rosé? We're moving to France in a month for a year,
You are? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. I
yeah.
loved it there. I absolutely loved it. Like I could live there.
Well, come visit, come visit. We're gonna be, on the South Mediterranean coast, the Côte d'Azur. So I
Well,
can't
you
even
can try some orange wine.
Yeah, and why is it orange? Is it a rosé made with
It's like rosé, but it definitely has an orange taste to it. It's delicious. And
That's
it goes
very
down really
cool.
easy.
And, so we got cannot wait for the next book, and then someone commenting on your wine glass, which was close to the camera, which is why
Yeah,
it
it's not
looks
as big as it. There we go. Much a size there.
Oh, so have you visited France multiple times?
No, that was my first
That was your
time.
first time?
Yeah,
And
we went to
what part?
Paris.
Paris? Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, this will be my first time as well. We're going for my husband's work, and it remains to be seen, for me at least, whether France now will like filter into my books, after this immersion. But
Oh, yeah.
how do you pick? This is a segue. How do you pick settings for your books? Or do you pick places that are special to your heart, close to you, or how does that work for you?
So about half of my books are sets where I'm from in the Pittsburgh area, where setting is a character, and then the other half are set in completely, different places. This one was set in the Connecticut, Manhattan, like New York City area. And I think I wanted to get out of Pittsburgh. I feel like every other book I kind of go back and forth. And I wanted to be near a large metropolitan area. So that's why I kind of did the Connecticut suburb, and then I hit on Manhattan as well, the close proximity.
Well, I happen to think Pittsburgh is gorgeous. I love Pittsburgh, and I can see why you keep coming back every other book to it. It's nice and atmospheric, on the trees and the hills and them. So great place to set a book too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, you guys, the name of the book is The Wife at the Window. Pamela, way to mess it up. The Wife at the Window. One more flash of the beautiful cover. Here we go. Woohoo! And so at this point in the show, what we talk about is the same thing we talk about with other authors every week, which when I first started the show, honestly, Cara, I thought it would be totally boring, but it's been so much fun having people talk about these different silly questions. So here we go with the speed run. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. So do you physically have an office? Are you sitting in an office at this point?
Well, that's an interesting question. I am not sitting in an office. This is my living room.
Uh-huh.
I have a closet that doubles as a office that was constructed during quarantine to give me a
Nice.
space. So it doubles. There's shoes and books and my desk.
Well, so the
I had it
question,
specially built.
yes, that is so cool. I used to record audiobooks, and I did it in a specially constructed closet. So I'm feeling you, sister. When you're in that special closet office, is there anything silly or weird in there? Because that's one of the questions that we ask is, what's the weirdest thing in your office? Which for you may
Yes,
be
so I
shoes.
have a carved giraffe sitting on a chair holding a coffee cup, wooden figurine that sits right in the corner of my desk.
And there's got to be a story.
It was just, we got this strange pass down from my husband's uncle in Texas who I've never met. And these wooden figurines came in a giant box. And I didn't even know who this man was. I opened it up. There was like first of all, there was baby dolls. I thought somebody had like cursed me. I'm like, what is this? And then I started pulling out these figurines, and my husband's like, "Oh, that is my uncle Brian from Texas. He must have just sent us this as a special gift." And then I pulled out the giraffe, and I was like, "Yes, this is the one I will keep." So it just sits on my desk, and it's just a giraffe holding a coffee cup.
So thank you, Uncle Brian from Texas, who you've never met.
Right, right.
That's hilarious. I love it. Well, as someone who writes domestic suspense, have you ever been sent any weird gifts? This is not in the list of questions, but just occurred to me from readers before. Have they tried to send you weird gifts?
I've gotten some strange, like just like notebooks,
Ah,
which but they were cool. I think that the notebooks are a great gift because you can never have enough of them, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, if you were to cast this book as a movie, do you have actors in mind that would play the roles?
Yes. So I was thinking of Jessica Chastain, if you know her for
Yeah.
Talia. She's the red hair and she's got kind of, so Talia is the stepmother or the other woman.
And
And,
she
she
does
has
kinda evil a little bit well, kind of like not evil, but she does uh,
devious.
devious. Thank you, that's the word. Yes.
Yes. And I love Emily Blunt just in everything. So I'd
Yes.
probably cast her as Emerson because I
Yeah.
just think she's a fabulous actress. And I think she could play that like I was a deranged mother, but I've come out of it now and I'm, trying to fight to get my child back. And then I kind of pictured Patrick Dempsey ish for Shep.
Mm,
Like just
nice.
this good looking, like kind of clueless, but like, everybody, kind of wants him, you
Yeah,
know. He's the
exactly.
husband.
I do. The I'm getting older, but just better looking, that you just kind of as their wife, you kind of want to hate them, but love it at the same time. So
Yeah.
it's exactly McDreamy. So
Jamie.
my husband actually must be commenting from the gym because he said that your story about the giraffe reminded him of someone handing me. Well, no, it was your story about the notebooks. Someone handed me on book tour once a book and then said, "Here, what do you think this is made of?" And they pulled something out of it,
Skin.
and they said it was skin. They said it was dry
Oh,
skin. And at that
no.
point in time, I was like, I don't think book tours are a good idea.
It's very Silence of the Lambs.
It was
Made
so
it with
sad.
skin.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, notebooks are good as long as they don't have skin in them. So
Yeah.
that's our conclusion there, folks.
Right.
If you were to win the lottery or a large sum of money in any way tomorrow, what would be some of the things you'd want to do with it?
Well, I love to travel. Like I said, we just came from France. I would probably buy um like little places all over and take my family with me. My mother loves to travel as well. I'd buy a place in Italy, I'd buy a place in France, and I would just take my family with me to all these places and we'd vacation.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. It's wonderful that your mom loves to do it too, that it's because as a mother myself, I've always loved my mother to travel with me once I had children, especially.
Right. So she can watch them, right?
It helps, it helps. So you guys, the next question, I think I already know the answer to, but are you a dog or a cat person?
Oh my gosh, I'm a dog person. I have two Bernese Mountain Dogs. If you hear that bell, my one dog is being annoying and ringing the bell right now. But two giant Bernese Mountain Dogs, Lily and Luna, big dog
Oh,
lover, and I love big dogs, big furry dogs.
yeah. We were chatting about the love of big dogs and also praying that our big dogs wouldn't ruin the show today before we got on, you guys.
Right. Yeah.
Because they do that sometimes. My Malamute has come in here 3 times. And if you see my arm twisting, it's me petting her, trying to tell her here she is again with a purple oh gross. Yeah.
You
Anyway, so
don't let them in bark. So you have to like they want to be by you. So it's like if you try to shut them out, then they're more noisy. You
exactly. Scratch the door. Wah! Yeah. So
know?
we deal with it. But we love it. And now getting back to the topic of writing with these questions, are you somebody that meticulously plots, or are you a seat of the pants writer?
Oh, I'm definitely a pantser, and I have tried to be a plotter because I think my life would probably be easier if I plotted everything out first. But I'm truly, if I had my choice, I would just be a pantser. I only write synopsises when the publisher requires it for
Yeah.
the book to sell. I think with Bookouture, the first book, this one, I only had 3 chapters and a synopsis, and the other 2 that are coming out, I just had a synopsis. So I have a little bit more, free range, which I really like. 'Cause I feel like
They're
they don't go, how you expect, and
exactly. You've got to let those women talk to you.
right.
You just never
Yes.
know what they're going to do. I think Bookouture is awesome about that, about the whole, just give us a synopsis, get us through
Mhm.
the pitch, and we'll be good.
Yeah,
I've really liked that. I could
totally.
not write a book on spec, so to speak, and then have, or 60-page outline, it would kill me. But
Oh,
absolutely,
no. Yeah, that'd be brutal.
yeah, not going to happen. And are you somebody that enjoys a particular part of the writing process more than others, like research or brainstorming or first draft or second draft, or what's your jam?
My favorite part is after it's all done, going back through and reading it and kind of tweaking it and making it perfect, or just like going back through and tightening everything up once you've got it all down. That's my favorite part.
I always think of that as like using a tuning fork. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
music, it's like, oh, that sentence, it just needs, yeah, a little bit off key.
Use that word already. No,
Yeah.
that could
Yeah.
be phrased better.
Why did I use the word perpetually? Why did I use this word 3 times in this paragraph?
I know. Yeah.
Um, so that is, unless there were other questions, if you read ahead and you had some you were dying for me to ask you in the speed round, that's all the torture I had planned for you. Are you
Oh, no,
good?
this was great. Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was
Oh,
awesome.
it's really been awesome. And the excitement that I'm hearing about this book, in fact, I had already heard about your book in my book group on Facebook, Pamela's
Great.
Posse. And I'd already heard somebody saying that they'd read the arc and how, through NetGalley, and how excited they were about it and stuff. So the buzz I'm hearing, even from my little corner of the universe, is great about it.
Awesome. Great. Great. Well, if there's one thing I could say about this book, my favorite part is the twist at the end. Nobody has gotten it yet. None of the
Really?
reviewers are like, and so of all my books, I would say that's what stands out about this one is the twist at the end. So we'll see if you get it in your,
Ah.
in your book club.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I review on NetGalley for audiobooks, and so I was all lined up to do this one, and I must have been a day too late because I went to my NetGalley and it was not there. So
Oh
I'm still
no,
grieving this, but I will definitely read it. I'm excited to read it. It was queued up and ready to go, and then boom.
no.
We do have one question before I let you go, and that is, are you able to reveal a title on your new book
Yes.
yet? What's it?
Yes, I can. So, sometimes they change the title. They did change the title of this one, so no promises. But as of now, it's called A Tiny Secret, which
A
after
tiny.
hearing the premise, you can imagine what that tiny secret is.
Definitely can. I'm looking forward to that one too. So, you guys, everybody give a virtual wave as we say goodbye and thank you again to Cara for being here. Bye, Cara.
Thank you so much.
And at this point in time, I had been promising you that I was going to start telling secrets every week. I don't have that many secrets. So I'm trying to think of which one I can unveil this week. The best one, I think, is that I didn't write a single damn word on my new book this week. Not one. We discovered that with our move to France, we have to have all of our stuff packed and ready to ship next week. And we thought it was in like a month. So yeah, that's all I've been doing is prepping, trying to figure out how to keep all the clothes I need for 2.5 months or 2 months, and yet still ship everything to France when the weather's going to be the same the whole time. I know this is a first world problem. I know, but that's my secret is I was not a writer this week. I was a stressful pre-France, whatever I was, it was nuts. So I do have to at this point remind you that Crime and Wine is a solely owned and copyrighted production of Authors on the Air Global Radio Network, which is a digital media group with over 4 million viewers and listeners in 153 countries, and that you can read my books in any format you want, to ask your library or bookstore to order them for you if they don't carry them. And you can watch past shows. You can prep for upcoming shows by looking at what I've got on the calendar. And getting the book ahead of time, like Charlene did, and read so that you're ready to really enjoy what guests like Cara Reinard had to say about The Wife at the Window. So last but not least, you guys, I want to encourage you this week to go out and read, I don't know, a book a day. Would that be all right? And I hope to see you here, same time, same place, next Wednesday. Thanks for joining us today on Crime and Wine, chats with crime fiction authors and Pamela Fagan Hutchins. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll check back in with us next time for more thrills, suspense, and stories that will mystify, sometimes horrify, and always leave you wanting more.